The number 34 team in the country in scoring defense. A lot of pressure on these young ladies tonight to slow down the Gamecocks.
And right off the tip, Cooke is fouled as South Carolina, as they have been known to do, looks for the first points of the game and the first seconds of the game off the opening tip, and they'll have a chance at the free throw line just 4 seconds in as Cooke will go to the free throw line. So this is a monumental challenge for this Texas A&M team. We'll tell you about their roster. They do have 8 available and dressed here tonight. Their last 2 games, they only had 7 as Cooke gets the first points of the game. What needs to happen today for Texas A&M to hang with South Carolina, Christy?
They've got to control the rebound situation. They have not been a good rebounding team. Joni Taylor told us we need to keep it within a 10 margin. That's a huge task for any team, much less the undersized Aggies.
So this is the Texas A&M starting 5. Sydney Bowles is the freshman, the leading active scorer. KK Green is coming off a game where she played all 40 minutes against Purdue. Erin Kindred, her 3rd straight start. Sahara Jones has started each game, and Aliyah Patty is the leading rebounder. Shot clock is down to 3. We expect it to wind down today. Bowles running into the elite defender for South Carolina. That's Bree Beal. Boston out to Fletcher, will step in for the 2.
And Eric, you asked me what A&M needed to do. The second piece of this equation is shot selection. They need to be very consistent in the types of looks. Long rebounds will allow South Carolina to get out in transition.
And you do expect A&M to really let this shot clock wind down, right?
Absolutely.
They need to just to limit the possessions on each side in this game. Once again, the shot clock winds down. It's down to 2. Something has to happen in a hurry here for Patty. 2 trips, and they both result in turnovers. For South Carolina, we talk about Beal's defense. Victoria Saxton, a 3-year starter for the South Carolina team. Aliyah Boston, 8 double-doubles on the season. She's tied up. KK Green at the port. They do get Mackenzie Green back off an injury. She missed the last 2 games, so we'll see her come off the bench. 3-pointer on the way is off the mark, 1 and done. Saxton with the rebound for South Carolina. South Carolina 2nd in Division I in rebounding margin. They are at plus 22 on the season. Cooke drives the lane for 2. Patty will try it from outside the 3-point line. 14 attempts on the season. Once again, the shot clock is single digits. Jones on the pull-up. Fletcher the rebound. And South Carolina wants to run. Good job by the freshman Bowles to get the steal, and she'll take it to the basket for an A&M hoop. Beal, so I can't pass along the trash talk she would offer up in praise of her Eagles.
South Carolina never ends until the ball goes through the hoop. They are relentless on the glass, so they're going to have to stay in defensive mode and try to prevent these 2nd and 3rd opportunities for South Carolina.
Already 3 fouls. Cooke will try from the outside. No, there's Sexton, and that's the 4th foul called on Texas A&M. And these post players, Patty and Malone, will be put to the test today, and Joni Taylor will have to balance their minutes. They are without Sydney Roby. Here are the ones who are on the bench to play the role of cheerleader, but unable to play here today. Janiah Barker's the leading scorer. She has a wrist injury. Tanea Hilton, she's out of her walking boot. I mentioned Roby getting surgery in Milwaukee. The hope is that maybe she can come back before the end of the year. So there's a lot of hope over there, but there's just not a lot of bodies.
Joni Taylor told us we can't play them together a lot, so can they cut into the deficit when they're both on the floor?
And South Carolina's going to be at the line for the rest of the quarter. And one thing, as the fouls add up, as we mentioned, there are 8 healthy players for Texas A&M, so if they get into foul trouble, that spells trouble. In just 13 minutes, Saxton got inside, and again, so tough. So that's 2 fouls on Erin Kindred. Dawn Staley's team, you know, there are things to work on and fix. It's contagious because Jolette Law was giving the same look as the head coach. And a legal screen is going to be called.
If they're not doing it in the half court necessarily, they're doing it when the shot goes up. That's when they're committing these fouls.
Boston backs in on Patty. stands her ground, and another foul. So substitutions now for Texas A&M. Myra Petticord, freshman from Detroit, comes into the game. Jada Malone did get whistled for her third personal foul, so that's the risk that A&M took, and it's costly. They will get Kindred out of the game with her 2 fouls. Sahara Jones comes in.
Because she is the only big left for A&M.
Jones trying to take Boston off the dribble. Jones to the hoop. Beautiful reverse, won't drop, and there's Cardoso with the rebound. 8 rebounds a game for Cardoso. Letitia Amihir into the game. You see how effortless she makes it look. Kick out to Patty over the outstretched arm of Cardoso, and Amihir, who can put it on the floor. Head up. There's only one person who could catch that pass. It was Cardoso, but she got caught in a little too deep to finish it. Joni Taylor tells KK Green to put on the brakes.
And most teams off a missed layup or turnover like that would take off running in transition. You see the pace A&M wants to play at.
Amihir takes it away from the freshman and takes it in for 2. They're trying to find an opening for Bowles to shoot. Finally she launches, but it's too strong, and Raven Johnson, this is where she's good. Transition, get into the open court, show her playmaking and her handle. Boston shuffles through for 2 to Green. Bowles will launch in and out. Raven Johnson on the pull-up. Johnson on the follow. Got to get a timeout now.
Well, I still think LSU's an unknown commodity, so to speak.
3 more than that so far through 12 games of the season. Better than 10 blocks a game. And then there's Bree Beal, the lockdown defender.
Exactly. And so here's the bottom line. I could talk a lot about how good, from an athlete-to-athlete perspective, well, I think if you're an Aggies fan, you'll take that trade-off just because it gives you a bigger player back on the floor for the Aggies.
Amihir got a hand on it, but then out of the scramble. All 40 last time out against Purdue, had a career high 14 points, 6 assists, and 3 steals. So KK Green doing all she can to battle for Texas A&M.
Was going through all 5 players on the floor. We're not seeing that here tonight.
Jones rejected by Cardoso, who spikes it out to Johnson, and South Carolina will hold 4-1.
A&M going zone here on this possession.
Johnson with 5. Beal to Feagin with 2, with 1. Count it. In her 3rd game, that's Chloe Kitts, the freshman from Florida, who graduated from high school early and figured, well, no time like the present to join my future team. The future is now, and she is now enrolled and playing for South Carolina.
I mean, honestly, it's like it's like a senior in high school going and taking graduate level courses. That's my respect for where this South Carolina team is right now. And the fact that Chloe Kitts has come in and earned playing court time is remarkable to me.
South Carolina was ready to take off the other way, but KK Green had other ideas to get the hoop.
Well, one thing about Texas A&M, they're going to play hard. They're not going to give up. No team that's under Joni Taylor's tutelage is going to do that.
Cardoso, in her 2nd season with South Carolina, has elevated her game this year. Close out with Kentucky taking on Mizzou. 9 o'clock Eastern time right here on the SEC. They'll try to hang in there, but right now it may be a tough ask when you're facing the #1 team in the country that can go deep into the bench.
Where we've talked about the differences from a depth perspective. 14 players, or 13 tonight, playing for South Carolina. Just the 7, 8 tonight. But the other major difference for me is just the experience factor. We've talked about this senior class for South Carolina. Bottom line, just prepares this team for March.
So far in this game, we have not seen the freshman Talaysia Cooper or Ashlyn Watkins for South Carolina. I'd expect we get a heavy dose of those two in the second half. We're just 4 minutes into the second quarter. Texas A&M had to burn a timeout as their players are getting burned out, trying to defend and keep up with the South Carolina team. Malone inside is fouled. First free throws of the night for Texas A&M. South Carolina already 9 of 14 from the line. This who's been very good on the offensive glass, 54% of her boards coming on the offensive glass, going up against a team that thrives in that category.
What is it like to play South Carolina first game of SEC play? She goes, I'm happy about it. I'm excited.
Which I must say, when she said that, I just wanted to make sure that that wasn't part of a punchline as it knocks in.
They're overmatched against a South Carolina team right now, so it doesn't matter if they're playing in February. However, this will be a great learning experience, as we're already seeing them play better now.
For South Carolina, Freshman tries a three, no. Boston gets inside position. Joni Taylor in the A&M. Well, as you can tell with Aliyah's hair, Christmas is not over for Aliyah Boston, happy to say. Are we going to see red and green? And she said, no, I got something coming in January for everybody. But Talaysia Cooper into the game now for South Carolina. Ashlyn Watkins into the game for South Carolina. Here comes Cooper. Cooper all the way, blocking foul. Second foul on Sydney Bowles.
I think she was still moving laterally because there is no arc as far as taking a charge in transition because she was
for Cook. The kick to Johnson. Three won't drop. South Carolina's not done yet. Cooper, a second chance here for the Gamecocks. Cook drains a three.
Protecting the rim.
Shot clock at 4. Oh, Malone explodes down the lane and finishes for 2. Jada Malone with the hoop for Texas A&M. Quickly back the other way comes Cooper. Cook can't get the three. Cooper with the offensive rebound, and the C's part takes advantage.
Last couple of possessions, it's been the guards for South Carolina creating the second chance opportunities.
Cooper showing that quickness, gets to it, gets to the basket for 2. Final minute of the first half. Jones, shot clock down to 4. Down to 2. Jones is fouled with a shot clock at 1. Sorry, Jones to the free throw line. 9.6 boards against Purdue last time out. She has started each game this season, 30 minutes a game. It's not a Hallmark movie for them this year. I mean, this is a challenging season, new coach, new system, players adjusting to that system. They are going to take their lumps this year.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's one of the things, because I focus on culture when I watch film. How is a team responding when there's adversity? And the one thing that's been consistent today, they're just overmatched. But my key for them would be, can they be better the second half than they were the first half? That would be growth for the Aggies.
Malone. Jada Malone, 5 in the first half. Great success there, 140 wins in her 7 seasons at Georgia. When she's had a couple of years to build the program in
this team is young. Those teams that transition so quickly usually have veteran players that are
under 18 head coach and assistant for the senior team. So she had a busy summer coaching for Team USA, moving her young family to Texas from Athens. General manager at Connecticut in the WNBA, so it's really worked out in many ways for the Taylor family. I think it's worked out best for JC and Drew because I think they've hit the concession stand pretty hard here tonight. I'm jealous. Zia Cooke. Somehow that caught the iron. Looking for the foul was Jones. Beal, who is there defensively, got down the other end quickly and finds Cooke open for 3. So Cooke will head to the bench. Fletcher, Beal, Boston, Cardoso, and Cooper on the floor now for South Carolina. Cooper, good minutes in the first half. Beal hit a 3 earlier, knocks down another. 29% in non-conference. Malone from outside. Boston the rebound, and Carolina wants to run. Beal with Cardoso, and Beal into traffic. It's locking eyes with the camera. She was doing the pause.
I think we should get her on Dancing with the Stars.
That's a good point. Aliyah Boston bringing props to looking at things here, and Aliyah's like, oh no. Is she looking at the turnover category? Because Carolina does have 9. Doing the Baltimore strut into our lives, Christy Thomas-Scuddy.
I aim to please.
There's Boston inside, won't drop. Cardoso there, no. Cardoso there, yes. And Dawn's taking in a new vantage point here for the third quarter. New to me, at least. Maybe she's been down there a time or two before. Oh, Cardoso, she had a perfect view for that.
From her season average, and she is up almost 4 rebounds as well. So again, big stage, Aliyah Boston is ready, but
Feagin misses the first. Reminder at CLA to close out our doubleheader on opening night in the SEC. Green. And there's a steal. Feagin takes it away, and she'll take it in for 2 more. Feagin now with 9. She came in averaging 7.5 points a game. She is a player who's much improved from her freshman year. 4 minutes a game last year, 2 points a game. Here she is defensively. Petticord had to change her shot and gets it to drop.
Well, Eric, in this league, you've got to have great point guard play and you've got to have great post play. And that's why I say keep your eye on Mississippi State.
A&M, after going 0 for 8 from outside the three-point line in the third quarter, they get a 3 from Sydney Bowles. Her first points of the second half, now with 8. For Talaysia Cooke here. Of course, international experience with Team Canada.
You say 6'4". I always focus on the 6'10" wingspan when it comes to me here. And it just puts so much pressure on their half-court offense because there's not a transition game for them consistently game to game. And you're seeing that today against a team that has scouted them really well. They're taking away passes. They're taking away entry passes and just making it so hard for them to execute.
Chloe gets into the game. Talaysia Cooper. Opening night in the SEC. South Carolina, team that lost their season opener in SEC play at Missouri last year. Overtime and a stunning upset. It's a right wrist fracture. The hope is she can return this season. In order for that to happen, they'd have to just continue to see healing in the bone, not need surgery. So she's got to dance for it.
But I haven't seen the Baltimore strut.
No, because
snatch.
No, it's the Baltimore strut, but that's what she said a dozen times.
Yeah, this is why I didn't try it.
Well, this is why I'm here for all.
Except for me.
Now you know.
Now I know.
The more you know. Closing in 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. It's been all South Carolina trying to strut their way to a 13-0 record here this season. The winning streak extends back to the SEC Tournament Championship game. Count it, and the foul. Are you a dynasty? That's the question. They have performed great last year and what we've seen so far this year. But Dawn Staley says, to get there.
South Carolina is because they have so much depth.
Yeah, every team's been hit by something, some a lot harder than others, but South Carolina has been the team that has avoided it. That depth has helped. We talked about being without Bree Hall here tonight. Good defensive player. He's had some good moments this year, averaging 6.5 points a game. That one will drop in. Petticord launches and makes a 3. 2 bigger minutes than would normally be planned on for them to start their careers at Texas A&M.
They lost 2 non-conference games. Morgan State had to cancel right before tip for health and safety concerns, and then because of when you have a young team, you need game reps. For seeing the 5th trump card now, because Cooper's now running the point for South Carolina.
Also, now there are 5 potential point guards. So let's go through the list. Zia Cooke and Talaysia Cooke here, and Raven Johnson and Kiara Fletcher. Cooper has a new career high with her 15 points.
It is about the team success, not her own. And it's, for her, you got to believe the long game. She wants to go back.
came out of the locker room after halftime and turned it up even higher on defense, outscoring Texas A&M 19-3 in that third quarter. Kitts scored 13 against Coastal. She was asked about playing here in front of this big crowd, another big crowd here tonight. Said, I was scared to look up at the crowd when I came on the court. I don't blame her. She was only in high school a few weeks ago.
Well, and already one of the crowd favorites, as evidenced by that last applause when she scored.
South Carolina defense, 3 of 22 from outside the three-point line. Shot clock is off. Dawn Staley puts her hand up, and now the crowd here at Colonial Life Arena can salute their Gamecocks, who have won for a 33rd straight time on their home floor. 76-34 the final.
Well, from South Carolina, it's what we expected. Dominating defense, dominating on the glass.